Congratulations to Caitlin Clark's South Carolina Gamecocks for winning this year's women's basketball Caitlin Clark tournament, brought to you by Caitlin Clark and starring, wait for it, Caitlin Clark. Tonight, an 81-year-old shooter is facing 15 years, which, in his case, could be a life sentence. Who is the real king of hip-hop? Is he gonna drop another diss record? And if so, why hasn't he ever responded to Pusha T? Welcome to America, where we exalt our losers. And with that said, the Chiefs have been ordered to share their Super Bowl trophy with the Cleveland Browns and the Miami Dolphins. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Find out who's the father on this week's episode of The Blackman Show. Welcome to the BS. Now let's go. What is good? What is good? Ladies and gentlemen, I am Seven Blackman, and this is The Blackman Show, a place where we can dissect the news with a little bit of 7 cents. So make sure you hit that like button like your father told you not to, because we know you never listen to your daddy anyway. But with that said, let's go. So for those of you who may be out of the know, or maybe it's been a minute since you've last kicked or pushed, this is Lupe Fiasco, Chicago rapper representing the West Side, Ivy League presenter and speaker, and one who feels deeply about his position within the hip-hop or rap game. So right now there's semi-beef, or not really beef, but it's beef in the current conversation of who sits alone on the throne as the king of this rap thing. Is it a three-way tie as hinted by one Jermaine Cole, who's potentially tied with Drake and Kendrick? Is it really just Drizzy at the top with his team of ghostwriters ready to whip him another radio-friendly classic? Is it old Drake, old Drizzy that Wayne signed back in the day? Or is it Kendrick with his non-radio playing chart toppers? So we got a whole beef that started initially between Kendrick and Drake, and him taking umbrage at Cole's Big 3 line with him coming back and saying, nah, it's Big Me in a song like that, causing Cole to drop the song 7 Minute Drill on his Might Delete This Later secret album, which he actually followed through on with the song and deleting it from Apple Music, even though you can hear it just about anywhere else. Now this led to follow-up disses dropped by Rick Ross aimed at Drake, calling him white boy, ASAP Rocky dropping bars at the Toronto Owl that seemed mostly centered around the love interest that they both shared. So Cole backed out, leaving fans mad and cracking jokes, and one person actually saying, I hope J. Cole is happy knowing the irreversible damage he did to hip-hop this past weekend. Now, I honestly don't know, but with all these rappers aiming for the top spot in the rap battle dome, I do know someone who is champing at the bit to get tagged into the conversation. Wazalu Mo, otherwise known as Lupe Fiasco.
Now, when I say this, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, when it comes to this art, and I quote, I will battle any motherfucking rapper. How many records you sold? I don't give a fuck. How many words you had? You gon' smoke, I swear. On my mama, to this song, I will walk through niggas. I will chew up niggas. I will fuck.
Now, here's a little background. The man has absolutely been battle tested, but in this realm of social medias and way of riding, it may be a bit of a wonder to know that he's already been beefing with K-Dot and some other B-tiered rappers. But with K-Dot in particular, it almost seems personal. Kendrick was able to blend conscious and commercial in the same breath like Lupe, but seemed to be getting way more shine, making us, the viewers, feel like Flash, you know, when Eddie Kane thought that he was still hot.
You want my spot, Flash? Huh? Well, you ain't gonna get it, cause you ain't got it.
Oh, okay, not that bad, but you get what I'm saying. But because there's been no recent commercial success from Lupe, I'm sure even he can understand when people are saying, who? And with no hits, people will make it seem like, or make you seem like, what you have to say is less than credible because of that success or its lack. Now, as one who is a Lupe Fiasco fan, I'd be interested to see what would be conjured from the superstar? Personally, I think he'd be able to kill. I mean, look no further than the song SLR. Dated as it may be, the jabs there are at so many rappers that you actually started to lose track, because I mean he's there's like some cuts and then the undercuts and then the cuts. I mean the only rapper that I've known who's done triple entendres in several songs, intentional. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, if that Lupe shows up, I think it's going to be bananas. But with Wazalu looking to take out any mother who would dare to try out his mental gymnastics, do you think he'll be able to even get into the game, or is it a record sales thing? Because if that's the case, why isn't Flo Rida even in the conversation? Now, speaking of battles, Palestine, Middle Eastern nation, location of Hamas and Netanyahu's summer home, allegedly. Deep in the midst of skirmish with Israel and over 33,000 deaths since the conflict began, of which up to 2/3 may be women and children, Palestine has been receiving support worldwide, even more so since the October 7th attacks when Hamas attacked Israel, resulting in 1,200 casualties since the attacks. Again, Palestine has suffered over 33,000 since then. So I'll just sit that right there. You know, 33,000, 1,200, 33,000, 12. Well, this week at several locations across the United States, protests kicked off, blocking traffic and creating an overall nuisance in order to call a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas. From Chicago's O'Hare Airport to San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge to Manhattan and even more spots in between, protesters attempted to block or shut down traffic and some commutes. With several hundred being arrested or moved across the myriad demonstrations, it's interesting to see how little these movements actually move the needle. And I'm not saying that as somebody who's being obtuse. I'm a product of the civil rights movement. Don't get me wrong. I was bust. I get it. but when we have so many different things grabbing our collective attentions from the social medias and whatever the newest conflict or rage or challenge is, do we think these protests or this form is still moving the needle like the give peace a chance crowds of the 1960s when they had much less going on outside of that? I'm just saying, what was the end goal here? What was Biden supposed to be like? I have a nation of 340 million people. What's that? 200 of them have decided to do some protesting. 200 million, you say? Oh, wait, just 200? I remember back when me and Corn Pop used to hang out at the local 5 and Dime, you see, because, the 5 and Dime was, they're blocking traffic and they want me to stop war profiteering? Did they stop my money from flowing? I'm Batman. Seriously though, I've always been a student of social movement. So what do you think was the real end goal with these? Again, I'm not trying to downplay the issue because I think it's a valiant one that needs addressing. I just want to know what they were hoping to happen on that day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because America should stop funding wars and helping one side to prosper on one side of the world while we're leading the charge to sanction another nation doing the very same thing on the other. I mean, that's to say, how are we able as a nation to talk about how we can't allow one nation to take up the land of another because it's not prudent, as we've said about Russia, but only to contort our national mouths to say, carry on to Israel when they're doing the very same thing to Palestine. I mean, it just makes us seem like a hypocritical nation that shows more of what our actual goal is than anything of what our ideals say we are about. And I've said this personally for years, and I'm sure still nobody cares that I'm still saying it, but to me, we're Israel's bodyguards, and we're even worse because we do just whatever they say. Back up whatever actions that they're a part of, justify them, and then we still fix our faces to tell the world how things should be run. I mean, we're tag dogs for the ones that we like, and woe to the ones that we don't like. Now, as somebody who used to drive for Uber myself, I know that there are certain dangers that can avail you at any turn. I know that sometimes you'll get those passengers who invite you over after you drop them off to, just smoke one with them. And then you'll have the other ones who'll be completely knocked out as you got to drive them deep into the darkness of the boonies. But what I didn't know is that you could be killed just by trying to pick up a package. What I'm talking about is the unfortunate situation in Clark County, Ohio, where 81-year-old William Brock shot and homicided 60-year-old Uber driver Lolita Hall. Okay, so here's what happened, right? Apparently, they were both victims of scammers. Brock had been getting contacted for days prior to this fateful one when the con men were saying that they had his relative, I think it was his nephew, locked up, and it would take them $12,000 to get him out. Then calling other times and threatening homicide to Brock if he didn't give up some kind of money immediately. Well, in comes Lolita Hall, who receives a call from her app, apparently telling her to retrieve a package from Brock's residence. Now that actually was a scammer once again, riling up William Brock. So Hall goes over to pick up the package, and that's when she's accosted by Brock, who takes her cell phone but doesn't call the police or 911. Looking hella bad there, Brock, while demanding to know who she works for, all taking place at gunpoint. Now, she eventually gets into a car where he shoots her. They get into a scuffle where he shoots her 2 more times before then finally calling 911. I mean, you got to get enough of a justifiable reason, right there, Brock? Anyway, police show up at the scene, arrest Brock, and take Hall to the hospital where she unfortunately passed from her injuries. Brock is currently facing the murder charge, which carries a 15-year penalty, and was being held on a $20,000 bond, which he posted. Police are searching for information on the scammers whose actions led to this fatal act. Now, I just gotta say, man, I mean, thoughts and prayers to Miss Lolita's family, and because I can only imagine how it could feel to your mom, grandma, somebody's mother, grandmother, aunt, whatever is out there trying to supplement her income by driving. You could see in the video that she looks like she may not be in the best of health. She's walking with a limp, and who knows? Like, I have people in my family who this reminds me of, and I can only imagine how I would feel if I were to find out that something like this happened to my relatives. You know what I'm saying? Like, if my people, that rage wouldn't even be the word. Like, I just may as well just open up the cell next to him if you think you can catch me, because I am. Anyway, I'm just saying. Look, so there's that. I mean, and no offense to the dude, because I mean, even to him, I feel for him because he was just tired of the BS, and now he had somebody to aim his pissed offness at, in this woman who just showed up at his door, not knowing that this could be fueled by the scammers who were trying to scam him. I mean, I don't know. I usually try to find a lesson in tragic situations like this, you know what I'm saying? Make it lemonade or toilet wine, whatever it is, depending on the ingredients. But how do you reconcile something like this? Seriously, I mean, somebody died and another man is in custody, all because of some scammers bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's things like this that make me really hate money. And I won't even, not so much money, I guess, but what people will do for money, because it just really shows. It really shows who and what you are when people do stuff like this. I love a lot of people, but to me, it's just shameful to see what some of us will do for money, for the love of money. Again, I mean, because I think if there was no money, then maybe there would be less of stuff like this. But who am I kidding? We probably see people setting each other up for whatever the medium of exchange would be, whether it be shekels, sheep, whatever it is. I'm sure there will be a way to, somebody's gonna set somebody else up, and it'll be for the entertainment of somebody else. We're just, waiting for the asteroid at this point, I think. In a stunning turn of events, the good people of Jackson County, Missouri decided they'd rather not fund two midlife crises of two sports stadiums needing a facelift and new location in order to be validated. I swear, these stadiums sound like Kevin Samuels' version of Modern Women approaching the proverbial wall. I mean, we got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Royals who asked for a sales tax increase of 3/8 cents to fund renovations and a new ballpark, respectively. But, as reported just last week, the people responded with a resounding no. Now, the Chiefs, who wanted to give Arrowhead Stadium a facelift, and the Royals, who had dreams of a shiny new downtown ballpark with no parking, were left in the dust. It's like asking your parents for a pony and getting a lecture on financial responsibility instead. Mind you, this is right on the heels of Jackson County residents being taxed up the ass for property tax upgrades that the county says that we made. I can't imagine why the good people wouldn't welcome another vanity tax on top of that. I mean, exactly how many fans do you think there are? And how many of those fans do you think would be okay with just forking over money if they'd rather not, when Good Enough just won a national championship again? Now, the teams are left scrambling for funding options or considering relocation. It's like watching a billionaire check for loose change in his couch cushions or something like that. So we'll see what they come up with between now and 2031, when the current lease at Truman Sports Complex ends for the Royals. It's a bit like living with your parents until you're like 30, realizing that you can't afford to move out, then get mad at your parents because they won't pay for it. So what does this mean for the future of these teams? Well, it's about as uncertain as a $500 BBL in a shady motel. But one thing's for sure, the people of Jackson County have made it clear they love their teams, but we are not about to foot the damn bill. However, that's where we'll have to leave this one. As always, I look forward to reading your comments. They provide a bit of sunshine, even when you're dropping poop. Or I am when I'm reading it. But either way, what are your thoughts on the saga of the Chiefs and the Royals v. the overtaxed people of Missouri? Are you too through with the constant increase of prices that you can't control? Yeah, me too. And that's why we need somebody who's gonna set this land straight. Somebody who's gonna stand for the little man and woman. We need
Judge Blackman is now presiding.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Court is now in session. Judge Seven Blackman is presiding. Now, I know I've been gone a minute. I've been spending quite a bit of my time enjoying the Fani Willis saga with her man, not her man, was her man, Nate Willis, who filed a divorce, filed divorce paperwork on his wife without letting her know that he was making $250 an hour as the lead prosecuting attorney for Fani Willis as she attempted to bring Donald Trump to trial. In the meantime, he and she have been in the midst of some sort of coital relationship that has since ended, I guess, where now we're talking about money and her lack of judgment and her lack of ability to comport herself completely. She ran on a whole ticket of talking about how she wouldn't be somebody who would sleep with someone who's under her.
Because they deserve a DA that won't have sex with his employees. Because they deserve a DA that won't put money in their own pocket when it should go to benefit children.
And look at her sleeping with somebody. Anyway, it was a really it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. Now that I'm back, let's get back to business and let's see what's the first thing on the docket. Scammers. I'm sorry, if there are any scammers out there whose scams are leading to someone's death, that's your ass. You get exactly what they got, period. Next up, losers. Can we stop celebrating them? Look, I don't mean the guy with the Temu drop ones on, although does kind of fit the description. But I'm talking more about people like Caitlin Clark. And yeah, I get it. She's a star. but she did not win. Did you see the parade for the Chicago Bears in 2007? Or the Chiefs when they lost to Brady? And you know why? Because even though they had some dope stars and potential Hall of Famers on the teams, they still lost. So why is somebody like Caitlin Clark getting all this hype? I mean, we know why, but do you? And I get that women's basketball hasn't had a real set of stars since the likes of Swoops, Lobo, Catchings, or Tarazi. What? She's still playing? Still? I just don't think you all are getting the message that you and the likes of Jill Biden are sitting when you're celebrating the loser or put them in the same space as the people who beat them. Or maybe you do know and you just don't give a. It's almost as if you all are just picking your winners regardless of what the records say. And if that's the case, then I guess I get why so many are hell-bent on a rapist cheater who breaks contracts, who's twice impeached, who also never won the popular vote. And if we're elevating losers, then exactly how is that winning? But to that end, I guess I'll just have to say congratulations to Caitlin Clark's South Carolina Gamecocks for winning this year's women's basketball Caitlin Clark tournament, brought to you by Caitlin Clark and starring, wait for it, Caitlin Clark. And with us not elevating losers, can we let go of this red pill bull? I mean, I can't see among your elders who are exactly the ones staying within the parameters of the life you say you're living, outside of maybe Rollo Tomasi. But you've got them telling young men not to marry older single mothers. Definitely not older, and absolutely not a mother. But then you see them doing just that. You've got others getting pimped by the side chicks, barely in the country for a couple of weeks, and already getting game run on them, with his only excuse being that she's a S worker. Well, then that makes you the biggest trick, and a bad one at that. And lastly, you've got Andrew Tate, who, if the charges stick, it looks like
You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
And to that end, men, stop wasting these ladies' times. I mean, look, if you guys are not ready or understanding of what your position in this world is, or what you need to bring to the table, or the table of life that will involve you and the young lady who you will end up spending the rest of your life with, don't waste these ladies' times. Now, with the garden tools, do whatever you want with the garden tools, but leave the ladies alone until you figure it out. And what is this thing about telling all of our business? Why is it that we think it's so profitable in the first place? I mean, I talked about what we'll do for the bag before, but it's so wild how many people will come out of the woodwork to tell a story about you from 20 years ago in hopes to glean some of the shine from you, all for the bag. But is telling about us really worth that bag? And I'm looking at that movement out there that's going around with the black people telling the world of how other black people scare us. Look, you can go to Instagram or TikTok and go wild. Just check the hashtag and read to your heart's content. I would caution you though, however, to go slow, because if it were to be broken down in a way other than racially, say economically, I'm sure there will be a lot of us who hate hanging around with a lot of us, because we know some of us are going to be asking some of us to do some wild shit that could get some of us implicated. We know that. And while some may be upset for the fact that it seems like it's like telling our secrets, I'm really upset because so many of us can honestly relate to it in the first place. But we'll run to the social medias telling our story of the latest revelation trend, and later wonder why we see our stories, mistold as they are, but on screen nonetheless, and quicker than we can say to be. A quick side note, if you are going to sell your story, at least do it on the Tyler Perry network, the 365 network. I mean, aim for Netflix if you can get Netflix. But if you can't get Netflix, the 365 is there. I'm just saying, because Tubi is owned by Fox, and we already saw what they did when they had Martin in Living Color, New York Undercover. You know, remember Malik Yoba with the dry lips when Chips was saying that he was sexy before he said that he digs trans men. And lastly, let's bring an end to trying to justify that one relative who you know is a little bit off when it comes to mingling with the family. That is, unless it's me. Y'all better invite me to the damn family reunion. But with that, I'll leave you to your regularly scheduled programming. I've been your Judge Blackman, and next time I'll see you in court. But that's where we have to leave this one. Please be sure to check out the merch store at theblackmanshow.com. Feel free to follow your boy on all the socials at Show The Black Man. Hit me up on our Facebook group or our Facebook page, both called The Blackman Show. And if this video was a winner, go ahead and give your boy the HBO special. That's right, help a brother out by hitting the like, hit the subscribe, and then share this with your peeps. Lastly, if you'd like to reach out to your boy personally, hit me up at tbs@theblackmanshow.com. And you all take care of each other and make it a point to cherish the ones you love. I'm telling you, it makes things a whole lot easier. But until then, peace, and I'm out.